Good evening, Amulya.
Good evening, Sajani. How are you?
All good. How are you? Good to see you and welcome to the school.
Well, wonderful, wonderful. And I am privileged. It's an honor.
Right. Good. So we will start at 6:30 after all the people join. Is that okay?
I agree. I'm perfectly fine.
Right.
I'm ready when you are.
Yes, at 6:30 we start with our prayers.
Done, ma'am. Done.
Amulya, have you sent that to all your friends?
Yes, Sajani, I have already sent, and let's hope some of them join.
Yes. Hopefully they'll join.
Yeah, I know. These days, everybody is so fed up of webinars.
There are too many webinars, I hear, right?
So people don't know that what value they are going to get.
Yes, but and also there's a choice of so many webinars.
So many.
Good evening, Malti.
Good evening, Sanji. Sajani, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought my voice was breaking a bit. Okay, fine. So I've checked the mic also now.
Mic is okay, yes.
Yes. Now I'll start my video and check that also.
I can see you clearly, Malti.
You can, that's nice, because I can't see anybody else on the phone.
Everyone has switched off their videos.
Okay, but I will put it off right now. Yeah, I
Where's
will.
Mr. Janaki Ram?
He's next to me. So that in case you need for, you know what I mean, the prayer, you will do it also. In case.
Aniket, is Ram there? Aniket?
Is here, madam.
Okay, because when we'll start at 6:30, another 6 minutes. Hi, Ram, how are you?
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening, Ram. We'll start after 6 minutes. Good evening, Deepthi, how are you?
What time does it start?
Franny has joined now.
Hi, Franny.
I've joined, ma.
Yes. We'll be starting in a little while, Franny.
Okay, sure.
Deepthi is also joined.
Yes.
Hi everyone, this is Malti here.
Hi, Alti.
Also join. Pattapir.
Deepthi, are you at the school? Deepthi? Unmute yourself, Deepthi. We can't hear you.
Sir, these are backgrounds you can choose, Sajani.
Okay. I thought it's much later.
Yeah.
Because it's too bright to be at the school. It's dark right now.
Yeah. It's a certain type of background,
I know.
virtual background.
Hi Deepthi.
Hi there, how are you?
Fine. Hello Ram, how are you? I'm Malti here.
Alithia, hi.
Yeah. Hello.
How's everything?
Getting along, Ram. Going around with the tide, that's all. Moving with the tide and the times.
I'm glad to hear that.
Good. And how are you?
I'm okay.
Fine. You're looking good.
Amulya ji, another few minutes and we'll start. Aniket, would you like to project the poster, please? So that we see that the video is okay. Amulya, would you like to project something, an introductory slide? We can't hear you, Amulya. That's it. Okay, good.
I think this is better. This is
Yes. Thank you, Aniket.
Thank you, Aniket. And my namaskaram and pranam to everybody.
Right, thanks. You see, our managing trustee of the School of Ancient Wisdom is Ram Menon. He's there. You can see his photograph. And he will be saying the school prayer in a few minutes after we start. Okay, Amulya?
Pranam, sir.
can-
Namaskaram, sir. Mr. Ram Menon.
Ram, that is our speaker, Mr. Amulya Shukla.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I wish you will take us on a journey.
Sir, it'll be my privilege, and I'll pray for that. And God is kind.
He's speaking on a very beautiful subject, Ram, Rumi's poetry.
Please, yes.
Yes, Rumi is a 13th century poet, a mystic, a Sufi, an enlightened person.
Hi, Lali Matthew, Renuka Arun, my neighbor.
Okay.
She's in Chikmagalur.
I know, Renu.
Yeah.
Hi, Renu, Sajani here.
Maybe she's muted herself. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah, but
And
she'll
it's
know
good.
that bit. Okay.
Okay, before we start, we'll start in 2 minutes.
Hi, Sajani. Hi, Malti.
Oh, hi.
Okay, what I'd like to say, and I keep repeating, kindly mute yourselves.
Yes.
Please mute yourselves because we don't want any sound while this goes on. So Aniket will also mute everybody, and you will be unmuted only if and when you have to speak. Even when you have questions, kindly put them in the chat box, and then our speaker will answer them. So that is something I repeatedly say because this is being recorded and we don't want any sounds. Okay? So mute ourselves only when you have to say your prayer or when you need to ask a question, then you may unmute yourself. I can hear some sounds. Kindly mute yourself. Everyone mute yourself and we will begin now in 1 minute. Everyone's ready, isn't it? Because Mr. Amulya actually wanted to speak for a long time. He has so much to speak about, but we have only up to 8. So we'll begin now. Welcome, everyone. Yes?
Sajani and Aniket, may I request you, do you have a command in Cisco where you can mute all?
Yes, that is Aniket will do that.
So Aniket, as soon as you hear any sound from anywhere, mute all and unmute me. Mute all and unmute me. Keep doing that.
Aniket, are you there? I can't hear Aniket. But kindly, Aniket, be in charge of muting everyone. So now we will begin. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Spiral of Wisdom Satsang online. And this is the 3rd for the year that we are having today. A very, very warm welcome to you. And we're really thankful that you keep coming back to us every week, every Thursday. A little before this, our speaker was saying that there are so many webinars going on that not many people join. But I'm so glad that our Satsangis keep joining week after week. So very warm welcome to you. There's a sound. Kindly mute. Our speaker for today is Amulya Shukla, and he will be talking to us on love, live, and liberate through Rumi's poetry. He's very passionate about not only Rumi's poetry, but poetry in general. And we're very, very happy that today we will be having a talk on Rumi. Rumi is a Sufi poet from the 13th century. And his poetry, I'm sure all of you must be familiar with, at least little quotes from them. So now we're about to begin. Kindly mute yourselves, and we start with the school prayer by Ram Menon. Mr. Ram Menon, the school prayer, please.
Yes. O hidden light, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other.
Thank you, Ram. And now we will move on to our interreligious prayers. We begin with Malati. Malati Janaki Ram, please.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, at least till now I was, so I suppose I am. Okay. Om Bhur Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhur Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhur Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Asato ma Satgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you. We now have the Zoroastrian prayer by Freni.
Yes, ma'am. Ya Noor-e Dastagir, Ya Dastagir-e Noor, Karam Kar Karima, Rahem Karo Ya Parvardigar, Madad Karo Ya Nabi, Zartoshtra Tari Patshai. Baname Yazad, Bakshayande, Bakshayish Gare Meherban, Yatha Ahu Vairyo, Yatha Ratush, Ashachi Thacha, Bange Ush, Dazau Maningo, Shaute Nanam, Angyus Mazdai, Shatrem Chai, Ahurai, Aim, Dare Gopyo Dadatavasta Rahem, Yatha Ahu Vairyo, Yatha Ratush, Ashachi Thacha, Vange Ush, Dazdau Maningo, Shaute Nanam, Angyus Mazdai, Shatrem Chai, Ahurai, Aim, Dare Gopyo Dadatavasta Rahem, Ashem Vahu, Bahishtam Basti, Ustasti, Ustamai, Yadashai, Bahishtai Ashem, Sarosh Yazad Nipana Hojoji. Thank you.
Thank you. We now have the Islamic prayer by Dr. Sana.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Thank you. We now have the Christian prayer by Ravi Gerard.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you. We now have Gulu Advani, the Sikh prayer.
एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजोनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक हो से भी सच सोचे सोच न होवई जे सोचे लखवार चुप चुप न होवई जे लाए रहा लिवतार भूखिया बुक न उतरी जे बन्ना पुरिया भार सह स्यारा पालक होवई त इक न चले नाल किव सचियारा होइए किव कूरे टूटे पाल हुक्म रजाई चल रहा नानक लिखिया नाल वाहिगुरु जी दा खालसा वाहिगुरु जी दी फतेह बोले सो निहाल सत श्री अकाल
Gulu. And right now we will begin our session. So I ask Mr. Ravi Gerard to kindly introduce our esteemed speaker.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Amulya Shukla, who will be speaking on Love, Live, Liberate, the Rumi's Poetry of Life. Amulya Shukla says he is a free soul who feels one with the immensity of nature and elements of the universe, claiming that he is both an artist at heart and a scientist in mind. He is a physics postgraduate from IIT, an advanced diploma in mass communication, New Delhi. Professionally, he is a motivational speaker, leadership coach, strategic business management consultant. For him, science and strategic management help solve the problems of this world. Art and poetry help him refine himself and craft his offering so that this world may become more humane. He says his dream is to help people realize their dreams. Fine poetry penned by great poets and Bollywood lyricists take him on the inner journey. Amulya is the sole founder of Sambhav Consulting, serving businesses since 2008. Prior to that, he was in the corporate sector with a couple of MNCs and also had stints at advertising and journalism. Sir, we welcome you. Sir, when you are in Bangalore next, we welcome you to visit the School of Ancient Wisdom. Thank you.
I'm grateful, sir, for that kind invitation and for your generous words. Well, the proof of pudding would lie in eating it. And thank you very much. Thanks to each one of you. Thanks to Sajani and thanks to you all from the School of Ancient Wisdom for inviting me and making it happen. It's an honor and a privilege, and I look forward to.
Thank you so much. Now it's over to you, Mr. Amulya.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'll be starting with something which is my own, I would say, a prayer or some meditative lines, which may remind you of Rumi also. That when everybody very lovingly comes and waits for something to be spoken, and then I was taught and I learned this, that I have this question within me, that what shall I give him who has left his plow in the mid furrow, or to him who has stopped the wheel of his winepress? Shall my heart become a tree heavy laden with fruit, that I may gather and give unto them? Or shall my desires flow like a fountain, that I may fill their cups? Am I a harp that the hand of the mighty may touch me, or a flute that his breath may pass through me? Well, a seeker of silences am I, and what treasure have I found in silences, that I may be able to express in words with any confidence? If this indeed be the hour in which I lift up my lantern, it would not be my flame that shall burn therein. Empty and dark, let me raise my lantern, and the guardian of the night, the universe, shall fill it with oil and shall light it too. So, with that submission to myself and to the universe and to the guardian of the universe, I would welcome you all, and let's be together on this wonderful journey, which is, in my own words, let's learn to love, let's learn to live, and let's learn to liberate ourselves. And let's do it with Rumi this time. We keep doing it every Sunday in the sessions on Poetry of Life. So this time, let it be Rumi, and let it be a Thursday Satsang, and let it be the highly respected and esteemed institution called School of Social Wisdom, and the antecedents which are behind that school, behind the school, and the great souls who have visualized it and brought it to this shape. I am grateful to everybody behind it, and I'm grateful to the founder and all of you. So let me with those words, let me share the screen that will help us travel through this journey with Rumi, the Poetry of Life, which I, in my own phrase, say, follow your bliss. So let's follow your bliss. Let's follow each of ours bliss with Rumi, and kindly allow me to share the screen, and I'll just I need to go to Google Chrome. Just a moment. Kindly bear with me for a moment. And yes, share the screen, and then I'm here. Yes, I'm there. Yes, thank you very much. And I'll be taking this framework, employing it for our journey today. And as you see, it's divided into 3 stages. Let's learn to love, let's learn to live better, and let's learn to liberate ourselves with Rumi. And before I start with love, which would be the very first phase of our journey, I would begin with sharing with you the power of Rumi. Not wanting to talk much about Rumi, because most of us would already know. And if you are not aware of that, Sajani has already told you he's considered one of the greatest mystic poets and philosophers. And in Indian parlance, we would call him Drishta. Now, that there's a difference between being a Drishta, which is a visionary, and being a philosopher. Philosopher is something of the mind, of the intellect. Being Drishta is something which is related to your vision, and which is beyond this vision, these charma chakshus. Now, what is the difference between the charma chakshus, which are on our face, and we do have some deeper vision also, which we may call the eyes of our soul, or the eyes of our consciousness? I would just help you recall from Gita what Krishna said when Arjun was not getting convinced at all with whatever Krishna was telling him, that, hey Parth, you believe in me, because Arjun had so many doubts and so many questions, and he was not trusting Krishna to be something who can be trusted. Maybe he was treating him just as his charioteer, just as a chauffeur, just as a driver, or maybe somebody whom he would be calling Sakha. So Krishna was just a friend, a friendly neighborhood for him, who was his ally in this battle of Mahabharata, or even before that. And Krishna then says, because Krishna requests him that yogakshemam vahamyaham, that you just give up, you forego all your worries and your concerns and your questions and your doubts, drop them in my lap, and I'll take care of all your concerns and all your problems. Yogakshemam vahamyam. But Arjuna is not convinced. And then Krishna says, now I'll have to show you my Virat Swarup, that one vista, that one view, which will tell you that I am not a small, confined human being, limited to this body, limited to this flesh and blood body, which you may be considering me to be. So he says that now I'll have to show you my Virat Swarup, and for that I will have to give you some divine eyes. With these eyes you can't see me. Divyam dadami te chakshu, which means that I'll have to give you divya chakshus. And it is said that after getting the divya chakshus, Arjun could see the Virat Swarup of Krishna, which means that the universe was contained within Krishna, and which is exactly what Rumi says. You are the universe in this sack, in this tiny sack of flesh and blood. You are the ocean in this tiny drop of water, which is what Kabir says. बूंद समानी समद में सोकत हेरी जाए, हेरत हेरत हे सखी रहा कबीर हिराए. I'll make it easy in English for you. That Kabir is searching and searching for that drop of water which has lost itself in this ocean of water. How can Kabir find it? And then in the next doha he says, Herat herat he sakhi raha Kabir hiraye. समद समाना बूंद में, समद समाना बूंद में, सोकत हेरा जाए. In Hindi poetry, people who know the Bhakti Kal poetry, they call it Ulat Basi. That's an academic name. It's not an Ulat Basi. It is exactly what Rumi says. The entire ocean in a drop. So Krishna shows Arjun the entire universe in the body of Krishna. And for that, he was given the divine eyes. And it is said that there were two more people who watched that, who could see that vista, who were blessed. And for everybody else, it was a blackout. They didn't get to know about the Krishna's Virat Swarup. So the other persons too were Sanjay, who already have a Divya Drishti because he was sitting with Dhritarashtra and narrating the running commentary to Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra could not be at the place of action. And the other person was Bhishma Pitama, who with his power of sankalpa, as we know, pratigya is come to be known as Bhishma Pratigya. Any sankalp which anybody takes, if he or she remains on that, stays on that, and doesn't move, whether it is Guru Gobind Singh, whose anniversary, whose Prakash Parv we celebrated yesterday, whether it is Bhagat Singh, whether it is anybody else, whether it is Abraham Lincoln in USA, even if they lose their lives, they did not move from what they decided they had to do and what the stand which they took. So it was Bhishma who had this lesson with him, that he could see this. Now my submission is that just like Rumi, or just like Krishna, or just like Arjuna, who's temporarily given the Divya Drishti, we all have the divine eyes, but those are the eyes of the heart. Those are the eyes of the soul. Those are the eyes of the consciousness. Rumi wonderfully calls them the eyes of the heart. You will not be able to see this world in its entirety, in its magnificence, in its majestic magnificence, unless you see it from the eyes of the heart. And to make it easy and intelligible, I would say those are the eyes with which a mother sees her child. The child may do anything. The mother sees that child only with love. So those are the eyes of the heart. That's what I wanted to submit in the beginning, that Rumi was a visionary. He was a drishta. So confining a drishta, which is darshan in our tradition, Indian Manisha, the Indian tradition calls it darshan. We don't call it philosophy. Philosophy is a misnomer. It's a poor translation. We don't have a word for darshan. So what you see, which is your darshan, when it's expressed by somebody who has the articulation for it, then it becomes a poetry of Rumi, or it becomes the Vedic Richas, or it becomes the hymn which we just now heard from Guru Nanak, or it becomes something which is the Upanishads, in which some drishta, those were the rishis, some drishta who has seen and who knows how to live life. That rishi also has the articulation to write a book, how to live life. And that book is given to future generations for posterity. And beautifully, the coming generations and the entire humanity can benefit from it. Be it the Zend-Avesta, be it the Quran, be it the the Bible, be it the Gita, or be it the Vedas or the Upanishads, be it the Tao. It could be any. These were the rishis, and I would call Rumi a rishi. Rishi is somebody. There's a difference between rishi and muni. Muni was somebody like Dronacharya Muni or Vishwamitra Muni. These were the people who knew how to live and who knew how to teach how to live. So whether it is Ram or Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan, or whether it is the 100 Kauravas or the 5 Pandavas, they are all sent to the ashram, the Gurukul of the Muni, whether it is Guru Muni Dronacharya or Muni Vishwamitra or Muni Vasishtha. And somebody who is also Muni, but also has the articulation and capability over language and write poetry. And that's why poetry is so important. We write even the Mahakavyas, the epics. They are stories in poetry, whether it is Ramayana or Mahabharata, or whether it is Iliad or Odyssey in the Western world, in the European mythology. When it is narrated in poetic form, but it is a story which encompasses the entire life, which means all the navarasas, all the aspects are contained in it, the entire gamut of this human life and the universe, then it is called a Mahakavya. So whether it is a Mahakavya or whether it is a poetry by Rumi, whether it is Bible or Quran, or whether it is Gita, some book which teaches us how to live better, then we call that Muni also a Rishi. So there's a difference between Muni and Rishi. Muni is somebody who knows how to live better and who can teach it. Rishi is someone, Valmiki Rishi, or the Vedic rishis whose names even we don't know. But by the time they were Upanishads, the names we know still. So those Vedic rishis who knew how to live, who would teach how to live, and who would also write a book which stays for posterity for thousands of years. So with that background, having submitted that, I treat somebody like Rumi as a rishi, even if he was there some 700-800 years ago. I would take you on a very rapid fire kind of a journey in the beginning, that you may be able to appreciate the power of Rumi. And the power of Rumi would come across to us maybe in more than 10 dimensions and aspects. So let's move on. The amazing pull of his poetry, that this poetry pulls us towards him. It's not that we have to read it. It's not that we have to open a book to know Rumi. We can be given only one line from Rumi. Why do you prefer to crawl when you were born to fly? Now this one line is enough for you to live your life by. Why do you prefer to crawl? So things like this, everybody knows from Rumi. One meme, one poster on WhatsApp, one creative on the social media is enough to transform us, to change our life. So let me take you very quickly through the different aspects which are the power of Rumi. It's not only intellectual, but it's heartfelt. First, it has many levels, many layers. It's not at one layer. It has many layers. Tulsidas says it beautifully in Ramcharitmanas. Sugam agam mridu manju kathore, arath amit akhar ati thore, jimi mukh mukur nij pani, gahi na jai as adbhut vani. Whether it's the Vani of Guru Nanak or Guru Gobind Singh or of Krishna in Gita or of the Vedic rishis or the Zendavesta or Bible or Quran. We can't limit ourselves, but they have many levels. It's intelligible to a common man also at the first level. And then as soon as you want, people are doing their PhD theses on even one chopai of a Ramayana, or even one Vedic richa can take you to so many depths. In the universality and the immense diversity which this universe is, Rumi will show you unity. He will demonstrate the unity. The earlier Tulsidas Chaupai, which I mentioned, I would not like to digress into kind of elaborating it. For those who did not catch the Awadhi or the Hindi part of it, I would say that the time protocol which is allotted to me by the school and by my host Sajani here is strict. So let me move ahead, and those of you who would be interested in such poetry of life, be it Hindi poetry or be it Sanskrit or be it Urdu Shairi or be it English poetry, I would request that kindly you may write your interest in the chat box, and you may write your number also in the chat box. We will save your number, and at my level, I am every Sunday organizing, conducting a poetry of life session, and you're welcome to join that. It's pro bono, and everybody, whoever loves poetry and whoever loves to live better, to become a better human being, to live this life better, and to relate with each other better. These are the three basic motives behind that Sunday Baithak called Kavyanjali. You're most welcome to join that, and I'll move ahead on Rumi specifically. But these cross references help me in empowering my audiences and my friends, so that we don't limit ourselves to a textual meaning of poetry. We unravel it. We somehow open it and let it blossom like a flower, and it's like an ocean wave, another wave, and another wave. Each time some new meaning opens up, and that new meaning, just like a wave, when it washes our feet, it refreshes us, it makes us a new person, and we become we transform, and we become another new version of ourselves. So that unity and universality is Rumi's hallmark, and Rumi appears to you as a dear friend. He does not sermonize, he does not preach, which is the difference between many other books, many other poets, and Rumi. He's a dear friend and a confidant in whom you can confide. So youngsters will also take to Rumi, and people of all ages, of all walks of life, love him. So the next one is you can feel grace descending. People who are on the inner journey, which we choose to call spirituality or adhyatma, they will vouch for it, that there are writers, there are authors whom when you read, you can feel grace is descending. And as somebody as enlightened as Ramakrishna Paramahansa says, the winds of grace are forever blowing. The winds of grace are forever blowing. It's for us to raise our sails. So it's for us to raise our sails. The winds of grace are forever blowing. And I can make it intelligible or simplify it for everybody, that as the music in form of airwaves, in form of radio waves, is already here around us. You just need to tune this instrument. And when you tune this instrument to that frequency, the 93.7 FM or 94.2, 95.2 FM, those waves which are around here, the music which you can't listen to from these ears, will be intelligible to you, and this receiver will immediately catch it, and then you can listen to music. Similarly, the waves of grace, the winds of grace are forever blowing. So somebody like Rumi helps us raise our sails, and then we get direction, and then we can navigate this ocean of life, the Bhavasagar, as we say it in our tradition. In Rumi, you'll find a longing and a yearning, which is what all of us feel within us. There's a vacuum, or I call it, those who remember their biology lessons, it's a vacuole within a unicellular creature like paramecium, a small creature, unicellular. We still have a contractile vacuole, And it keeps expanding, and we believe that now this time when it'll eat up so many things and expand, it'll burst, and next time it won't appear. But there is a longing and there's a yearning which doesn't get filled. We fill it with books, we fill it with money, we fill it with success, but that longing, that yearning, we fill it with beauty, we fill it with power, but that longing, that yearning does not end. And as somebody like Emerson says, that the yearning is bliss. The journey is bliss, not the destination. So I'll keep referring to small couplets which empower us. So Jigar Muradabadi wonderfully says, मोहब्बत में क्या क्या मकाम आ रहे हैं कि मंजिल पे हैं और चले जा रहे हैं. So मंजिल कुछ है ही नहीं इस जीवन की यात्रा में. In the human race, there is no finishing line. So the human race is a wonderful race where there is no finishing line. So that longing and yearning is beautifully expressed by another well-known poet called Faiz Ahmad Faiz in हजारों बार इसका दामन भर दिया हुस्न दो आलम से, मगर ये दिल है जिसकी खाना वीरानी नहीं जाती. This heart which we keep filling with love and beauty and everything, and then the beauty of the two words, हजारों बार इसका दामन भर दिया हुस्न दो आलम से, but the longing and the yearning does not end. मगर ये दिल है जिसकी खाना वीरानी नहीं जाती, हजारों बार इसकी खातिर जर्रे जर्रे का जिगर चीरा इस आंख की खातिर. We've split the atom, we opened up the molecule, we went into protons and neutrons, and then further into bosons, and then we went up to the level of quark, and then finally we went up to a particle which we did not get the name, and then we named it the God particle. We kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. हजारों बार इसकी खातिर जर्रे जर्रे का जिगर चीरा, मगर ये चश्मे हैरान जिसकी हैरानी नहीं जाती. This eye which wants to remain in awe, इसकी हैरानी नहीं जाती, मगर ये चश्मे हैरान जिसकी हैरानी नहीं जाती. So this longing and this yearning is what Rumi brings to us beautifully. And Rumi reminds us that we are made for this longing and this yearning. It will not fill up. And those of us who are craving for problems to end in this biovac of life, they won't end. Which you've labeled as problems, they are the way. The river never says that I don't want boulders and hills and mountains and rocks and pebbles in my path. It simply makes way through them. So the river knows that this is the way. If there's a big boulder, it will circumnavigate it. The river knows this is the way. The human beings also need to learn that this is the way. This is the way. And then we move ahead. The power of Rumi is that Rumi is a bridge across cultures. Rumi is a bridge across cultures, a wonderful bridge across cultures. Rumi will never limit himself to any particular culture. Although he lived in the area called West Asia, which we've given a misnomer called Middle East. It's Middle East for the West. It's not Middle East for us. Just like in India, we may be performing a namaz oriented towards the West because Kaaba is there. But if we are in America, then we'll be oriented towards the East because the Kaaba is in the East of America. So what are directions in a round world? So Rumi brings you to a bridge across cultures. Rumi is a wonderful bridge. And Rumi also, when we talk of a bridge, then Rumi also is giving us another wonderful understanding when he would say that when you cross a bridge, it's a different metaphor. When you cross a bridge, you only cross a bridge. You don't cross the river. पुल पार करने से केवल पुल पार होता है, नदी पार नहीं होती. नदी तो पार होती है नदी में धंस के, पानी को पार करके, तैरना सीख के, मगरमच्छों से लड़ के, भंवर से बच के और तैरने का स्टेमिना रख के और दलदल में फंस के. नदी तो पार होती है नदी में धंस के. You cross the river only when you swim through it. पुल पार करने से तो पुल पार होता है, नदी पार नहीं होती. So Rumi teaches us that the bridge of this life cannot be crossed through the river of life cannot be crossed through the bridge of words. We can't read about life. We can't simply speak about life and feel that we've done it. No, that's not the case. We have to get into life. Zindagi aisa tamasha. Rumi says this. I'm saying it in Hindi and English both. Zindagi aisa tamasha, जिस से भाग लेने के वास्ते जिसमें भाग लेना जरूरी है. Life is such a game that in case you want to run away from it, you have to run into it. You have to play the game. So, coming back to the power of Rumi, even further, people who don't even like poetry, for whom poetry is not even intelligible, they say that yes, we love Rumi. So he's made poetry very, very simple and accessible to everybody. So we owe it to Rumi. He doesn't even call it poetry. Those are wonderful statements, maybe conversations. So it's a conversational method. And you are able to participate in the poetry with Rumi. It's not that he's speaking and you're listening. It's not that. He's talking to you, yes, but you feel I'm there with him. It's a wonderful feeling. Rumi becomes a spiritual guide, a mentor. What we call in English, in a metaphor, a friend, philosopher, and a guide. So Rumi becomes your friend, Rumi becomes your philosopher, Rumi becomes your guide, becomes your mentor. So friend, philosopher, guide, and mentor all rolled into one, and a very private coach who is accessible to you any time of the day, which is a wonderful feeling. You can't get a person like that. And it's a very personal process. Rumi's poetry, reading Rumi's poetry is a very, very personal process. It's nothing very generic. It's not something which he's applying to everybody. That's the power of fine poetry. That's the power of poetry of life. That he will bring you back to yourself. He makes you take up total personal responsibility of your own life. When he says that do not sit with those people who sap you of your energy. They will drain you and leave you nowhere. Get into the company of those people who enrich you, who nourish you, who send your blood racing, who make your heart throb, and who make you passionate towards life. Be in the company of high energy people. Which is what modern management and modern pep talk would also be doing, but in a very superficial manner. Rumi does it in a very, very profound manner. He gets into your veins, he gets into your arteries, he gets into your nerves. Not he gives you nerves, no, he gets into your cellular mechanism. He gets into you at that deeper level. And then Rumi, it's a wonderful love affair with Rumi. Rumi talks most of his talk is about love. Rumi talks about love. He talks love. He walks love. He lives love. He teaches love. He makes you love. So we will reach to love very soon, and I believe I'll be able to reach at least love part of it, because this time framework will be enough for the love part. And maybe they live and liberate. Maybe we'll be having, maybe some other day, if the school calls me, we can have a Rumi part 2 and a Rumi part 3, a sequel. So now, after having talked about the power of Rumi through these 12 powers, I now come to the purpose of this session, or the purpose of why I am talking, is that one, the purpose which could be only entertainment. So now you need to relate to it. That what is your purpose in sitting in this session? If you've allocated your time, if you've invested yourself, it could one be entertainment at the lowest level. So if it is entertainment, you'll definitely enjoy, but you'll forget. You've seen many movies, you were entertained for 3 hours, you paid money for it, you invested your time, you enjoyed, but you've forgotten that. So The purpose could be slightly higher. It could be intellectual hunger. It could be some vacuum within you, which could be a bodhik bhook, bodhik kudha. Excuse me. So if you have that intellectual hunger in you, it will be fed. Your entertainment will also be fed. Entertained you will be. Your intellectual hunger will be satiated. If you have a curiosity of knowing about Rumi and his poetry, it will be satiated through this session. And you will get that hunger ignited and charged up for more. So maybe after the session, you'll go onto the internet or you'll purchase that magical book of Rumi. There'll be hundreds of books on Rumi, but the masterpiece or the original would be by Coleman Barks. Right. So Coleman Barks, we owe it to him, who brought Rumi to the world which knows English. Otherwise, Rumi was limited to the world of Persian. So that hunger will be fed through this session, but remember, it may also be a glorified fad. It could be a glamorous intellectual fad. But there'll be people who may be wanting to go to a higher level or a deeper level, which could be the third level, and which would be, do you want to live better? Do you want to live better? Do you want to apply this poetry to your daily life? As Rumi says, your daily life is your temple. Do not go to the temples or the mosques only. Go there, but do not limit yourself to that. Because the mosques are for the organized religion people. So as wonderfully as Nida Fazli puts it, मस्जिदें हैं नमाजियों के लिए, मस्जिदें हैं नमाजियों के लिए, अपने दिल में कहीं खुदा रखना. The mosques are for those who are into organized religion. There's nothing wrong in it, but don't limit yourself to that. Make your temple your repository for the divine, and have that prana pratishtha of that divinity in your heart. And that's why Rumi talks maximum about heart. So would you like to apply this poetry to your daily life, which is your daily temple? Nothing of a fad. Let's live it. That's why we call it the poetry of life. Do you want to experience it? Start applying it. Do you want to taste it? Make cuisines, make dishes out of it. Rumi has given you ingredients. Rumi has given you the recipes. Prepare a dish. Prepare a daily dish out of it. Taste it. Experience it. Live it. If that is your purpose. So if you are here only for entertainment, it will be done. If you are here only for intellectual curiosity, it will be done from my side. If you are here for living better, becoming a better human being, and relating with each other better, and understanding this entire gamut of life, then all these three purposes will be fed. Because the upper purpose is also containing the lower ones in it. So moving ahead, this was from my side. This will be my summation. And I very beautifully owe it to Rumi, who taught me that life can be experienced only if we comply with these three levels. Those are the three levels of listen, see, and feel. And what is that? Let me take you to it. This would be a methodology of applying Rumi to daily life. So I'm talking to those people who are having purpose as the purpose of living better as the purpose, in which all the other two purposes of intellectual hunger and interest will be fed. So maybe out of the entire population of audiences which is here, all honorable members, maybe few of you would like to live better through Rumi. So there are three. It's a tool. It's kind of a trishul I'm giving you. The first is listen. Are you ready to listen to anything new? This would be courage level number 1. Are you ready to listen to this, that you are a drop in the ocean? And are you ready to listen to it, that you are an ocean in the drop, and you don't apply your limited mind to it, and you don't stop listening? That you start questioning, how can an ocean come in a drop? Stay with Rumi. Stay with these fine poets, these rishis. Stay with them, and they will teach you. Just stay. Invest yourself. So are you ready to listen to anything new? Is the courage level number 1. The courage level number 2. Are you ready to see and accept the evidence which Rumi is showing you? Then you at least reach the courage level number 2. Then the third level would be Rumi will make you feel something. Are you ready to feel, which means experience deeply? That will be courage level number 3. So if you are ready to cross all these 3 courage levels, Rumi will be intelligible to you even more, and you can apply him to your daily life. So have the courage to experience, absorb and accept. Have courage to experience, absorb and accept. And that will make you live hard. So that is one methodology which I've learned from Rumi, I've shared with you. And the next 3 levels of courage are feeling and expressing and living your feeling. Let me show you. Now the courage level 4, or the next level of courage after the earlier 3 levels, is another level where we talk of, are you ready to feel whatever you've experienced deeply, which we talked in the earlier 3 stages, the earlier threshold? This would be the advanced one. This is once again a basic level of courage. Then, are you ready to speak whatever you've experienced? Are you ready to experience your feeling? This is courage level number 2. And then whatever you felt and whatever you've spoken, are you ready to do it? Which means, are you ready to live whatever your feeling says to you? Then you will be able to live what Rumi says. This is courage level number 3. So he will bring you from your mind indicatively. Mind is not here, mind is all over. Similarly, consciousness is all over, but we've given it 2 indicative names, mind here and heart here. Heart is just a pumping station, but heart is also the center where we love from. This is this entire area in our chest, and this is where we think from, the CPU of the mind. So mind and heart, indicative. Rumi will take you on the most difficult journey of life, which is only of 14 inches from your mind to your heart. From your mind to your heart. Again and again, these 14 inches Rumi will take you through. So have the courage to feel, speak, and do whatever your feeling says, and you will be able to experience Rumi. And for that, have the courage to respond. So those of you who are feeling anything, if Rumi, if my words, which come from people like Rumi, are saying anything to you, please write in the chat box. I'll get to know what you felt, what you've heard, what you've experienced, and I'll go through the chat in the later hours. And if there are any questions, then maybe, I don't know what is the protocol, Sajani may be able to take them, but keep expressing yourself. And then with that, I complete the power of Rumi, how he wields his power. And let me move over to love very quickly. So within love, I would love to take you to, Rumi talks maximum about love. Just a moment. I just need to check up something. I had 2 pages in this. Yesterday I took some notes on the bed. Kindly give me. So Rumi will be taking you through these, I would call these 8 satellites of the planet called love. Universe, then acceptance and deception, then beauty, then heart, then self-love, then nature, and then soul and peace, and journey. 2 pages. School of Ancient Wisdom. Handwritten notes. Soul and peace and journey over the self. About the self and into the self. So yes. So I was told by Sajani that Ma Manize, who's behind the School of Ancient Wisdom, and who still inspires, and who's there, who I think is also with us in this session, and that's why that's the reason we are able to hold this session right now, and it's a privilege to have her blessings with us. She was an epitome and a personification of love. So when we are going through the love aspect of Rumi, let's dedicate it to Ma Manize and the soulful, endearing spirit of hers, which still guides us. So with that, I would love to move to heart. Rumi talks a lot about your heart, and In this, my submission would be, there is no other. I learned it from Ramana Maharshi. There is no other. This is the Vedant. Also the Vedant. There is no other. Aham Brahmasmi Tat Tvamasi. आप भी वही हैं, मैं भी वही हूँ. When we say namaste, the divinity in me bows to the divinity in you. And at that level, we are all connected to the divinity. So there is no other. Let's see what Rumi takes us through lovingly. Everything that is made beautiful and fair and lovely is made for the eye of the one who sees. So as I talked in the beginning, have those eyes. Nida Fazli says beautifully, सिर्फ आंखों से ही दुनिया नहीं देखी जाती, दिल की धड़कन को भी बीनाई बनाकर देखो. Make your heart, make the beating of your heart, make the throbbing of your heart your eyesight, and then you'll see this world beautifully. Heart is a sea, language is the shore. Whatever is in a sea hits the shore. How beautifully he says it. Heart is a sea, language is the shore. Let's not be limited by the language. What's in the sea hits the shore, but shore is not the sea. Let language capture that wave, some humidity of that wave, some freshness from that wave, some pebbles, some deeper pearls, and some precious gems from the sea. But the sea is very vast. Sea is majestic. Heart is the sea. You won't be able to express everything you have in your heart, even to your beloved, even to your child. Words. Speech at best an honest lie. A modern poet in Bollywood says, like Irshad Kamil, जो भी मैं कहना चाहूं मेरे अल्फाज बर्बाद करें उसे. बहुत मुश्किल है बोल पाना. Shakil Badaini says it beautifully. Being a poet, जिंदगी भर तमाम उम्र मैं झूठ की आड़ में सच बोलता रहा. Poetry is considered to be a farce, something of the other world, a dreamer's world by the entire world. So that's called jhoot. Shakil is calling it false. Rumi also says that I may appear to be poetry, but I'm talking about some deeper truths. Find yourself. Your heart is the size of an ocean. Go find yourself in its hidden depths. You won't be able to find yourself anywhere else. Sajani, I am not marking time. Whenever there are 5 minutes for me, according to your initial protocol, let me know. Within those 5 minutes, I'll try and come to some place where we can take a break and stop. But I'm not marking time. Kindly, with Rumi, I live like I'm just like Rumi. I can only humbly submit that I live in a time-space dependent kind of an existence. So at best, I can talk of myself as time-space agnostic. And we all know that Rumi said that beyond the domains of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. So I will meet you there. You won't be able to categorize things with me in right and wrong, and I won't ever categorize it with you. So we are living this life beautifully without the labels of right and wrong, without the labels of rich and poor, without the labels of good and bad, without any judgment, without any comparisons. That's what Rumi teaches us. So again, I'll humbly submit to Sajani that whenever your time protocol says that it will be time, initial time, with 5 minutes before that, just sound like tell me verbally, unmute yourself and tell me, and over those 5 minutes, I'll see to wind up. So Rumi talks about beauty, and beauty. I hope I'm audible to everybody. Fine. So for me, I learned from people like Rumi that making beauty necessary and necessity beautiful has been my I would say my aim in life, or my purpose in life, or my goal in life. And the every Sunday, that's a Sunday Baithak of poetry which we do, which is just like this, has the purpose, the fundamental cornerstone as making beauty necessary and necessity beautiful. So I dedicate that to Rumi. So Rumi talks about, let the beauty of what you love be what you do, not the other way around. not that what you do become yours. Khalil Gibran says it wonderfully. Work is love made visible. He does not let you limited to the modern post-Renaissance intellectual understanding of life and a very, very work ethic code. The code of the work ethic era was work is worship. He takes you beyond that. Khalil Gibran and Rumi will take you beyond that. Work is love made visible. I have not been able to find anything better than that. Work is love made. I hope I'm audible. There was some problem in the connection. Am I back? Am I back? Give me some reactions. Give me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Kindly tell me, am I audible and visible?
Yeah, you're audible, sir.
Hello.
You're audible.
Am I audible and visible? Okay, now am I. So thanks, Prerna. And there was some problem with the connectivity. We could handle it because we have a parallel again with another connectivity. So let the beauty of what you love be the beauty of what you do. Just a moment. Just a moment. I'll just be sharing the screen. Please give me a moment because we've just changed the computer. Bear with me and be with me. Am I audible now?
You're audible.
Yeah, just a moment. And the receive.
I think you have to mute the other computer.
Just a minute. And the receive. Is it?
Yes. We can see you, Amulya.
Am I back on video and audio both?
Yes, both.
Am I back, Sajani, on video and audio both?
Yes, on both.
Okay. So will somebody tell me that am I back between the audio on the audio and video both? Will somebody show me an audio because I can't see you all.
Both you're back.
I'm unable to see anybody. Just tell me by unmuting yourself.
Yes,
You
we
are,
can hear you.
you're audible,
We
sir.
can see you.
Yes, audio and video is on.
Thank you for saying that. Now I got it, and I'll just be going back on the screen share, and thank you very much. And we are there. Yes. So the only lasting beauty is the beauty of heart, beauty of the heart. That's what Rumi says. And is this screen shared with you? Tell me in an audio voice. Is the screen share back?
Yes.
Thank you. So after beauty, we move on to something very profound, which will help you. All these, like whatever happened, is technology blues, and I think it's nice that we could sail through it. If technology brings us to this pass, I think we are able to do something about it also. And over the past couple of minutes, we could be back. So let's be grateful to technology for this. Let's not blame it for whatever happened. Let's be grateful, which is what Rumi teaches us. Let's be in gratitude. So acceptance and deception. Now, this is what I've talked in the beginning, that poetry can be dangerous, especially beautiful poetry, because it gives the illusion of having had the experience of living it without actually having lived it. पुल पार करने से सिर्फ पुल पार होता है, नदी पार नहीं होती. We've talked about that. So I'm taking you to a very, very famous pool, a bridge which everybody would have experienced, the bridge Lakshman Jhula in Rishikesh. When we cross this Lakshman Jhula, we've only crossed the bridge. It's not the Ganges, the mighty Ganga we've crossed. Just to give you an experience, this was the vista, and then we can go to what Rumi says. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. And most of us would by now, in their own chronological and biological age, would have arrived to this, that I wanted to change the world, but today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. As it's wonderfully said, there is only one person whom you can change, and he lies under your hat. So see. And about grieving, Rumi says it beautifully: don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. A poet in Urdu says it beautifully: फूल कहाँ जाते हैं, जब भी जाते हैं लौट आते हैं. We are in this spring, we are approaching the spring. There'll be flowers all around, and by the time summer sets in, the flowers will go away, and the entire summer will be barren, barring a few flowers like Amaltas and Gulmohar, depending on north and south which region you are in. But the flowers of spring will not be there. But come rainy season or come next spring, the flowers will come back. फूल कहाँ जाते हैं, जब भी जाते हैं लौट आते हैं. Even if you've lost somebody, in another session of Poetry of Life, I can share such wonderful poetry which will empower you. Rumi stands for empowerment. Grieving, complaining, blaming, criticizing, comparing, analyzing, all this disempowers you. So do what empowers you. Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. We move over to universe. And for universe, we've talked about the methodology in the beginning. We'll move over to shine like the whole universe is yours. You are this universe in this tiny body of flesh and blood. Shine. He says shine. He doesn't say you live. Shine. Glow. And you'll only glow if you live from your soul, from your spirit. And he takes you to the fundamental level. Maybe you're searching amongst the branches for what only appears in the roots. Maybe, yes. So you need to reflect. Now, somebody like Rumi teaches us not to think, not to go into thinking, because you have to live from the heart, this journey of 14 inches. So drop the pursuit of thinking and understanding and start the pursuit of reflecting. Reflect. Let things be reflected. So in the placid stillness of a lake, the moon is reflected and the stars are reflected beautifully. So let the outside world reflect in your inner being, which is your heart. Two, if your waters are still, the consciousness waters are still, the precious stones and the gems and the pearls and the pebbles, the colorful pebbles at the bottom of the lake are also visible. And a thought is like a ripple. You throw a pebble in a pond and the waves are there. One wave, second wave, ripple. You keep throwing pebbles of thoughts, and then these waves increase. And the moon, which was beautifully reflected, maybe a full moon, it gets broken into small pieces. And then if you keep throwing those pebbles of thoughts, it's said that the human mind, when it's in a negative quality of thought domain, it creates thoughts up to the speed of 24 to 30 thoughts per minute. Now, 24 thoughts or 30 thoughts per minute is actually disastrous. But when you want to remain in the positive quality of life, positive energy, then it's not easy to stay on a single positive or loving thought even for a minute. There'll be something disturbing it. So let your waters be still. And then he takes you to this: I am you, you are me, we are one. There is no other. There is no other. So we are one. Let's go to the roots, and the whole universe is within you. And now we move over to self-love. The fundamental is just love yourself. This is not easy, but it can be learned. Just like life is simple. It's not complex. Rumi teaches you life is not complex, but life is intricate. Just like a medical student, in order to become a doctor, has to undergo studies over a decade, maybe MBBS, then house job, then MD, then advanced. Not before 10 years that person can be into one specialization of being being a doctor of one system of your body. And then too, he's a rank junior in the institute. So this human body itself is so intricate. Somebody like Leonardo da Vinci used to exhume the human bodies in the middle of the night. Why? Because he wanted to draw and sketch the human perfect. He wanted to have perfection in his sketches. So he wanted to study the blood vessels and the sinews and the nerves and the bones and the tendons and the ligaments. For that, he used to draw and sketch those human bodies, exhume them, and then cut through, and then something like a post-mortem. And his drawings are still referred in medical colleges. Those are so perfect. So life is intricate. It's not complex. And for intricacy, we need to go into the details. A lot of patience, a lot of perseverance, which is what Rumi teaches us. God lies in details. It's not easy. It can be learned. Love is the bridge between you and everything. Bridge between you and everything. Let's be love. Let's stay love. Let's stop loving. Let's start being love, which is a bigger benchmark, which is a higher benchmark. Let's start being love, like a mother. Mother doesn't only love, she is love. And somebody like Ma Manize, who was a personification of love. So let's be love. We are not human doings. This modern day fallacy. How do you do? You are. So we are human beings. We are not human doings. The whole universe is contained within a single human being, which is you. This spark, which is you, is the spark which stardust is made of. Realize this. Reflect on this. And then maybe we can talk of nature, which Rumi takes us to beautifully, out beyond the ideas of right doing and wrong doing. There's a field. I will meet you there. I will meet you there. And this takes us to nature. If you spend time in nature, if you spend time with the five elements, if you spend time in wilderness, with the greenery, with the clouds, with the sky, with water, with earth, with fire, if you work with the earth, work into the earth and work with plants with your own hands, if you climb trees, if you roll in the mud, if you play in grass, you will learn all this automatically. Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop. Be like a tree. So yesterday when I was talking to Sajani, I recounted this beautiful poem in Hindi, in Urdu, about one beloved person of ours. It could be our father, it could be anybody. I dedicated it to माँ मनी से. तुम्हारी कब्र पर मैं फातिहा पढ़ने नहीं आया. मुझे मालूम था तुम मर नहीं सकते. तुम्हारी मौत की सच्ची खबर जिसने उड़ाई थी वो झूठा था. वो तुम कब थे? कोई सूखा हुआ पत्ता हवा से हिल के टूटा था. So in this tree of life, we are just leaves. Over a span of 80 or 100 years, this leaf is there, and then it drops like a yellow leaf. And then there's another leaf, and there's another leaf. And even in Gita and Mahabharata, we liken this whole universe to an inverted tree. Ashwath, we call it. ऊर्ध्वमूलम, जिसका मूल ऊपर है, the roots are inverted. ऊर्ध्वमूलम अधशाखम अश्वत्थम प्राहुरव्ययम छंदांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्. So this is what Rumi talks. Different cultures, different times, but same thought. Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop. Death is a wedding with eternity. Wonderful. Sahir Ludhianvi tells us, मरने का सलीका आते ही जीने का शऊर आ जाता है. When we learn how to die, we learn how to live. Kabir teaches us wonderfully. कबीरा खड़ा बाजार में लिए लुकाठी हाथ, जो घर फूके अपना चले हमारे साथ. It's not the house which you have to burn. It's this mind-body consciousness which you have to rid yourself of. And then he says, कबीरा यहु घर प्रेम का, खाला का घर नाही, शीस उतारे भुए धरे, सो बैठे घर माही. Which means this ego you have to keep on the floor and tread over it, and then you will be only hard. Your death is your wedding with eternity. Mind says, if ego will die, I will die. No, you will not. You are not your mind and body. And then in the section of love, we talk about soul and peace. We talk about mind-body identification, which I have touched upon, and let's take it further. Peaceful is the one who's not concerned with having more or less. Unbound by name and fame, he's free from sorrow, from the world, and mostly from himself, which is the sentiment you will hear in all of the Bhaktikal poets. They were Kabir, they were Ravidas, they were Nanak, they were Surdas, they were Tulsidas, and there were so many more. Peaceful is the one who's not concerned with having more or less. Unbound by name and fame, he's free from sorrow and free from this world, and mostly from himself. And then we can move on to something which he talks about soul. There's so much to Rumi, but given this framework of time, I need to bring it to some closure. I know I'm approaching time, the extended time which Sajani has given me. So I'm just 3-4 minutes away from that. Soul, a moving river, body, the riverbed. So let soul be the moving on the body, the riverbed. Let not the body limit your river. Let it flow. If you remember the metaphor given in Illusions by Richard Bach, it'll be amazing. The initial, the soiled, hand-scribbled manuscript notes in the beginning. Just see that. And we can talk about it later. I'm available to you. If needed, you can take down my number. I'll ask my team to type it down in the chat box. Any of you may kindly take down my number. WhatsApp is a good medium. Otherwise, Amulya Shukla, you can see on the social media, you can connect with me, and it'll be my privilege. So the journey through self and journey to self and journey into the self is what we call spirituality in modern times. This Hindi I would not like you to go into because the time is less. Let's go into Rumi directly. Every moment I shape my destiny with a chisel. I'm a carpenter of my soul. What a beautiful thought. What a metaphor. I shape my destiny with a chisel and I'm a carpenter of my own soul. Amazing. Visualize the chiseling of that rock, the hewn Ellora temple out of one big mountain, one big one big hillock. How they've carved out that monolithic temple called the Ellora temple of the Ajanta and Ellora caves. Similarly, we have to work on ourselves. He always talks about work on yourself, ceaselessly. And then the journey from the self to the self, and find the mine of gold. Travel from yourself to yourself. And a poet like Surdas says, मेरो मन अनत कहाँ सुख पावे, जैसे उड़ जहाज को फिर जहाज पे आवे. Where does my heart find solace? I'm like a bird on a ship, and there's hundreds of miles of water and ocean around. So this bird takes flight and then comes back to the same ship. मेरो मन अनत कहाँ सुख पावे, जैसे उड़ जहाज को पंछी फिर जहाज पे आवे. That self is you, that self is divine, that self is universe. Journey from the self to the self. कितना वसी है मेरा हद तसव्वुर. My expanse of my imagination is so vast. कितना वसी है मेरा हद तसव्वुर, तेरे अंजुमन से तेरे अंजुमन तक. The same sentiment which Surdas echoed, which Surdas says, Goonge keri sarkara, the good or the jaggery which somebody who's dumb, who can't speak, he or she has eaten good jaggery, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful taste, but how can he express it? So this is that journey from the self to the self, and find the mine of gold. Leave behind what is sour and bitter and move towards sweet. As Kabir says, sadhu aisa chahiye, jaisa सूप सुभाए, सार सब गही रहे, थोथा दे उड़ाए. So I at least come to the roundup of one section of the Love, Live, Liberate journey with Rumi. At least we could cover one, and in the end I would dedicate these few lines to Rumi, that and I'm talking from somebody like Khalil Gibran, that when love beckons to you, believe in him. Though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so he is for your pruning. So Khalil Gibran gives us a manual for applying what Rumi teaches. Apply it to your life. So shall love descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth, like sheaves of corn. Now visualize that love will descend to your roots and shake them in your clinging to the earth, which is what Richard Bach says in Illusions also. People are clinging. Like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. Now this nakedness actually purifies. This nakedness actually is a threat to everybody. That's what Kabir also says. Kabira yahu ghar prem ka, khala ka ghar nahi. He sifts you to free you from your husk, just like we do with grain. He grinds you to whiteness, into flour, and then he kneads you until you are pliant. And then he assigns you to his sacred fire, that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast, the offering at the God's altar. And all these things love shall do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. So this is what Rumi teaches us. But if in your fear and love cannot coexist, remember that. Either you can be in fear or you can be in love. You cannot be both. So Rumi requires courage. Love requires courage. There are only two kind of people who are courageous. One is the valiant soldier, and the other is a beloved. And the third is a bhakt. So let's treat it three. And we know somebody like Guru Gobind Singh, who was all rolled into one. He was a lover, he was a valiant commander and a fighter, and he was a bhakt. Somebody like Krishna also. And somebody like Buddha also. They didn't fight, like Buddha did not fight a battle. But people like Krishna and Buddha, they are fighting the ills, the evils. So but if you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world, where you shall laugh, but not all your laughter, and weep, but not all your tears. Love gives not, but itself, and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed. For love is sufficient unto love. Love is sufficient unto love. And I'll sum it up by saying, when you love, you need not say, God is in my heart, but rather say, I am in the heart of God. And think not that you can direct the course of love. For love, if it finds you worthy, shall direct your course. A wonderful, wonderful line to live by. And think not that you can direct the course of love. For love, if it finds you worthy, shall direct your course. Let yourself go. Just let go. Just let yourself be in the hands of love. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, then let these be your desires, 4 desires: to melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night; to know the pain of too much tenderness, the 2nd desire. Each desire is increasingly difficult. The degree of difficulty is being increased by these people called Rumi and Khalil Gibran. To know the pain of too much tenderness, to be wounded by your own understanding of love, and then to bleed willingly and joyfully. A lover does not complain. To wake at dawn, and then he sums it up by giving you these thumb rules. To wake at dawn for the whole day, every day. To wake at dawn with a winged heart, and give thanks for another day of loving. Give thanks to the universe. We had that, all those prayers in the beginning. We thanked the sun, the Satra, Om Bhurbhuvasvaha, Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. To wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving. To rest at noon and meditate love's ecstasy. Be meditative in your living. Don't meditate only for an hour or 2. To return home at eventide with gratitude in your heart, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise on your lips. With this dedication to Rumi, I would bring my Vani to a halt for today, and I am very grateful to all of you for being so patient and giving me your time and your ears. Over to Sajani and the host. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amulya. That was really amazing. And we can see how passionate you are about the subject. There's an echo coming.
Yeah, I'll just.
Okay. Right. So thank you so much. And I'd like to tell you that our founder always said love is the only currency in the world. And that's what you've spoken about today. And she always said the journey is from the self to the self. So thank you so much. And we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. There is an echo.
Aniket, can you handle the echo?
Aniket, somebody has 2 instruments on. There's an echo.
It's okay. Is it better?
Is it better now?
No.
A little. But still an echo. All right. We have time for 2 questions. Any questions? Yes. Okay. Any questions? No, I don't see any questions. Right? So then we will end our session, and I request Sunita Mirchandani to propose the vote of thanks.
Sajani,
yes.
I say this, that in case people are not having questions, in case anybody wants to say, we can have 2 people saying something for a minute each. So you can take the mic and say something, because it's nice to get to know something. If that is fine, just for 2 minutes. Otherwise, we move over to the concluding protocol. So not a question, maybe you need to say something. You are welcome. Humans person, so talking to this screen is not very welcome. So if you speak, then it'll be nice to hear you. Anybody?
Okay, anyone? Gulu, you have put some comments. So would you like to speak?
It was nice to hear Amulya speak across philosophy from Gita to Rumi. It was a very,
Sajani, may I
very
say
wide
some
spectrum.
small thing?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you are audible.
Wide spectrum from Gita to Rumi and the references. It is a pleasure listening to you.
Thank you, sir. Your good name, sir?
I hope I'm Commander Pawar.
Commander Pawar. It's a privilege, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for
Anyone else?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, speak, Sajani. I'm Malti here.
Please do, Jani. Malati?
Yeah. I just wanted to say that your talk was excellent and so self-explanatory that none of us really had many queries about it. But we managed to get a real elucidation of the whole, the whole gamut of Rumi's works and the topics touched on. And I think that was really nice and a great eye opener also. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Malati. It's a privilege. It's grace, I would say.
Can I speak something?
Thank you.
Sanya.
Can I speak something?
Yes, kindly.
Okay, this is Sneh. I have joined from California, so it's very early in the morning, but it's really great listening to you seriously by the start of the day. And the way you said love is the only currency, that really touched me. And there are so many great things that you spoke about. कि मरने का सलीका आते ही जीने का शऊर आ जाता है.
Oh, wow.
I think these are the valuable things which we really need to imbibe in our life. Unless we use them, unless we implement them, we will not feel the experience. We will only be like passing the bridge only. So I'll pray to God to have all these things bit by bit in my life so I can experience this vast love at every moment. Thank you, Amulya.
Thank you, ma'am. It's wonderful listening to you and how you caught the nuances. It's amazing. Grateful.
Hello, I am SM Kapoor.
Yes, sir.
May I speak?
Please do.
Hello, Mr. Shukla. It was like putting a sagar in a gagar. What do we say in Hindi?
Sir.
So, it was so extensive.
Sir.
Only the thing is, we need to contemplate on what all you have talked. I don't know whether we can get a recording of your talk.
Yes, we can.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Shukla Sahab.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You are Mr. Kapoor.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. It's nice of you to say that.
Sajani, can I say a few words?
Yes, please do, Gulu.
My name is Gulu Advani. Thank you very much, Amulya ji. It was wonderful listening to you. And the couplets which you came out with, I had never heard before, especially the one you said, फूल कहाँ जाते हैं, जब भी जाते हैं, फिर भी लौट के आते हैं. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Sir, I can say on that, it's nice. It's actually food for my soul when you say that. I lost my father nearly 2 years ago. He was on bed for 6 years. And then it was on 10th of February 2 years ago, I lost him. And I have lived him like this. कि वो एक फूल थे और वो चले गए, लेकिन वो हर मौसम में लौट भी तो आते हैं और वो मुझ में जीते हैं. So without cribbing or complaining, I believe that he's speaking in my voice, and it's not me who's speaking. So thanks.
Thank you so much. I'm also speaking from my heart.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Anybody else?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
And there are friends of from Kavyanjali family also. Kindly speak up. And Prerna, I would love to hear something from Prerna, because it's Prerna who has been instrumental in bringing this around and making it happen.
No,
So,
no,
Prerna,
Amulya. Yeah,
Thank you so
Amulya,
much,
fabulous.
Prerna, for introducing Amulya to us.
No, Sajani, entirely my pleasure. I had the opportunity of hearing Amulya in one such forum, and he obviously comes from my hometown, so I have a lot of affinity. And I echo what everyone has said, that, one, he speaks from his heart, and secondly, he integrates various poets so beautifully around a theme that it just sort of becomes a very, very lucid flowing of thoughts. But one of the things that I often wonder, Amulya, is that all these poets that we are so fond of, and I'm personally very fond of, Kabir ji, and I'm part of a Kabir Sathsang that happens every Tuesday as well, and there are some other Sufi singers, the modern ones, but they all sing the poetry that has been written many, many, many years ago. So there is a universality of that poetry. But I just often wonder that this new, the new age that we are all living through, are we producing something which is going to be of great value, for posterity? And where is it? And, can we find it? And that kind of stuff.
So, Sajani, am I having the kind of permission to respond to what Prerna said?
Yes.
Okay. So Prerna, as Guru Nanak ji said that Tere bhane sarbat da bhala. So I'll be just sharing my take on it. That in order, and T.S. Eliot taught me this, that in order to make a poetry, kindly mute yourself, kindly everybody, maybe Aniket, you mute everybody and unmute me for just 2 minutes, maybe, because there's a lot of noise. So T.S. Eliot, a wonderful thinker, I would call him a modern day Rishi in English world. So he's given us amazing creations, and then he's given us his reflections on how creations happen, how poets create. And in that he says, in order for a poet to make a poetry or a creation classic, we have to pay attention to the distance between the being, the intellect which experiences. Aniket, can you mute everybody? Kindly mute everybody.
Everybody's on mute, sir.
No, it's not. Yeah, now everybody is mute because my ears were getting something. Thank you, Aniket. So the distance between the two intellects, the intellect which experiences अनुभूति in Hindi. अनुभव जिसको होता है उसको अनुभूति होती है, और उसके बाद there is an intellect which articulates, which expresses, abhivyakti. So the intellect which anubhuts and the intellect which abhivyakts, there has to be a distance between the two. Now, as Prerna rightly pointed out, that these great poets, and we can take the dozens of names, starting from Kabir and even Amir Khosrow and Rumi and Hafiz, and we can say it comes down to Guru Nanak and then Guru Gobind Singh and all the gurus and of the Sikh tradition, and Raidas and Pipa, and then Tulsi Das and Kabir Das and Rahim Das and Ras Khan, and they all distance their experiencing Manisha from the expressing Manisha, and the distance was very great, very high, very long, and very big. And this distance ensures that a creation becomes classic, which means it is time and space independent. So what Kabir says, what Amir Khusro or Rumi say 800 years ago or 1000 years ago, or what the Vedas say, and what the Vedic rituals we are still recounting in form of Om Bhurva Swa, maybe 5 or 10,000 years ago, we don't know, and they are so contemporary and they are so universal. So in order to make, I have devised a tool which I would call a Panchajanya. There are 5 aspects to it. we need to make our language simple. One. Then our language, the quantity of language has to be simple. Sugam agam mridu manju kathore, arath amit akhar ati thore. जिमि मुख मुकुर मुकुर निज पानी कहीं न जाए अस अद्भुत वाणी. ये तुलसीदास ने क्वालिफिकेशन दी है अच्छी पोएट्री की. And then the language needs to be light in its quality. So simple in quantity, less words, and simple and light in quantity, then universal, no exceptions, then absolute, not dependent on anything. And then lastly, pramanik. The person who's speaking needs to live it. It's not just an intellectual woman. It's not a bodhic woman which is happening on social media and in the name of poetry these days. That's why I say 98% of poetry is crap. Only 2% of poetry is poetry of life. Come, let's relish it. And that 2% is such a vast ocean that we can spend our life living the poetry of life. It would not get over. It would not end. So those are the 5 things, and those 5 things, if you combine, it becomes a Panchajanya, which is a Panchajanya of clarity. So in the poetry of great poets, you'll find immense clarity, and that's what it gives. That's what gives it universality and the timeless quality, which Prerna highlighted upon. So we owe it to them because they labored with themselves. They worked a lot on the chiseling of their own soul and their craft. In the modern world, in the modern day, we are not used to doing this. So in the filmdom, we have had so many music directors and so many poets which have given us wonderful creations over the periods of 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And after that, I think things went out of hand. So now exceptions may prove the rule, but the norm is that the quality has gone down. But that's also part of life. Life will come a full circle. Let's not worry. Over to you, Sajani.
Thank you so much. And now I think we've come to the end of our session. So I request Sunita Vaichandani to propose the vote of thanks.
Can I be heard?
Yes.
Yeah. Judging from the terrific discussions that have taken place, Amulya ji, I can only say that your session with us has had a very deep impact. Thank you so much for sharing with us this wonderful teachings and poetry of Rumi. We have arrived at 2021 and we still live in a divisive world. Maybe this is what we need, this poetry of the heart, this poetry of Rumi's, which is so similar to the poets of our Bhakti movement, that tell us that the only way to reach God, the only way to know ourselves is through the medium of love. And as Ma Manisi said, it is the only currency in this world that works. And it's the only currency that helps people overcome differences. We'll be thinking and reflecting a lot on all the couplets and all the slides that you showed us. And perhaps we're going to have something to take away, a lot to take away from today's talk with you. Thank you so much, Amulya ji, once again, for sharing with us this wonderful poetry, your wonderful slides, and your wonderful comparisons with all the various poets of the Bhakti movements everywhere. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm grateful. It was a privilege getting to know you, and it's an amazing feeling being here. I'm grateful to all of you.
Thank you. We shall now end with the Loka Samasta by Ramesh.
Thank you, Sajani. Amulya ji, thank you so much for that wonderful, gentle, and empowering experience. On that note, let us all connect with each other in a space of love and truth. Please sit straight with your back, neck, and head aligned. Take a deep breath and let go. Observe the silence within and the peace and the joy. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu. Thank you, everyone.
Much. Thank you so much, Ramesh. Thank you, everybody. And we look forward to meeting you tomorrow again for our session of meditation, Dhyanam. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramesh ji. And thank you, Sajani.
Thank you, Amulya ji. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Join us tomorrow morning at 10 for a meditation program by Indra, Dr. Indra Bhangar.